Did you see? Did you have to see Sharknado 3 as the conclusion of the trilogy?
I think that as we, I looked at it as a trilogy because when you do a 3, you have to look at it as a trilogy, and how can you make it one? I mean, if there's more after it, there's still more stories you can do, but. I tell people this, and I know people roll their eyes, but at the end of the day, take away all the Sharknado stuff. What is the story going on? And it's about Finn and his family. So yes, there is some sort of story going on in these movies, but the first one is about this divorced guy trying to repair the damage with his family. The second one is about him kind of repairing the damage to his wife and reproposing to his wife. That's why you have that love story at the end with the most ridiculous thing with the arm and all that crazy stuff. So the first thing we started saying for 3 is we had all these ideas, but what's going on with Finn and April? And the next logical progression is, fatherhood, and how can we reflect that? And that gave us a chance to have Finn with his dad, which is David Hasselhoff, and Tara with the mom. So it is a full meal of coming full circle of being of learning how from the past mistakes of being a crappy husband and a crappy dad to how do you become a real man. That's really the art. And then there's Sharknadoes that destroy all these cities.
Would you have liked to have done Sharknado 3D?
We talked about that. Thunder had a great title. It was Sharknado not in 3D. But yeah, I mean, it would have been fun. I don't think you really do that on TV, though. That's the hard part about it. There are a couple moments that could have been 3D moments in this thing if you wanted it. The other interesting thing is that we always kind of owe a huge debt to Jaws and everything. Jaws 3D opened on July 22nd back in 1983, and we were coming out on July 22nd. Total coincidence. So, I don't know. Useless trivia for me, but...
Now, you are a huge Jaws fan, which I know.
Yes.
So... How good was it to be in Orlando and be able to shoot there?
Well, the one of the cool things, we shot at Universal Orlando, and obviously Universal owns Jaws. We thought they still had the tram ride there. We're going, we can finally we don't have the tram ride anymore. But we're going, well, how can we do something? And they do have something Jaws related there at the park. And we said, we want to do something with this. And they go, because there's certain IPs we couldn't touch there because they're from other studios, but there's other things that were generic that were okay. But we really wanted to use Jaws, and that was part of the Universal family. But we have to go clear it with Spielberg and Amblin. It's like, okay. I'm thinking there's no way they're going to do this. They came back and said, okay. So I know it's probably a representative Amblin, but deep down I'm going, Spielberg knows who we are. So that was actually the cool, out of all the cool stuff that we had access to, that's like in the top 3 of things that like I would have never thought that we could get a chance to do something like that. So
now, how do you make it bigger and bigger each time? Like,
you cram 4 movies into one movie. The Sharknado 3, literally, we've crammed 4 different types of movies in this. So we've blown the wad on 3 movies we probably could have done. We have DC, we have Universal Orlando, so we have theme park destruction. We have a road trip, and we have another kind of cool thing toward the end of the movie that is like comes out of left field. So I think what it is that we get to keep on building a bigger and better beast with the same schedule and kind of parameters. Like we have 4 months to deliver these things. We have to also keep making different types of movies. So it's like we have Sharknado, but now let's do White House Down with Sharks. Now we get to do a Die Hard type movie within our Sharknado movie. Not parody, but an homage in a way. So it's like it gives you a different palette to play with. So that's how we keep doing it. And again, they keep giving us access to things like having, Ian Ziering in DC. I mean, we're not going to Canada and saying, hey, we're going to pretend this is DC. It's like he's in Washington going past monuments, and he's in front of the White House, and that's who would have figured we would ever be able to do that? I thought that would be impossible, and they said, yeah, you got a permit, you have a crew of 8, go do it.
Would you pass as the president?
Mark Cuban. And that was pretty awesome, having him run around the White House or our fake White House interior with machine guns and with Ian Ziering and stuff. So,
and you have tons of guest stars. Like, do you seek them out, or are people like now contacting you saying, I want to be in that movie?
Combination of everything. People come to us. We have a wish list. So if we had like 100 days, probably we would have even more people in these movies. We have 18 days, so it's always schedule, dependent, and a lot of it is day of. Like we were doing the White House interior stuff, and it was like the morning of I get there, it's like, oh, by the way, you got Rick Fox, you have Lou Ferrigno showed up, we have Jackie Collins. Now write stuff, come up with things, improv stuff. Right now it's like we have a 15-page day, so you're like trying to figure how can we make this all work and make it feel seamless, and that's the challenge. But it's cool because it's like Christmas every day. You get new people to come in. We had Frankie, he's a big part of the movie, Frankie Muniz, and he came in and just like knocked it out of the park. Oh my God, he's so good in this movie. And you know, he was always good on Malcolm in the Middle, but this gave him a chance to be really quirky. And the fun thing about Frankie is that he's used to TV where you have to like follow everything in the script, and we're like, let's come up with cool things. And he wasn't used to that. Sometimes like, you okay? It's about this. And he's like, yeah, just have fun with it. It's like, okay. It was so funny that he was worried that it was, you know, if he went off script that it was a problem. And it's like, no, it's all right. So that happened a couple times too. Jack Griffo, who is on the Thundermans and Nickelodeon show, he's he's fantastic, and he's used to that kind of, you can't do it. I'm going, no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's fun. It's like, you sure? It's like, yeah, you're not gonna get in trouble. Don't worry about it.
I just talked to him last week or a couple weeks ago and he talked about how much he loved doing that.
Jack and Ryan, who plays the Claudia in the movie too, the two of them had this great chemistry, and their boyfriend and girlfriend in real life.
Right.
And having them both in this movie was really cool. My daughter loves the Thundermans, and, you know, and it was kind of like this was a great opportunity. And that actually happened really weird because we didn't have a potential boyfriend for Claudia, and Ryan said, well, you know, Jack's coming down here. You know, he wanted a cameo in the movie, and so I called him and going, hey, you want to be in the movie?
That's what he said.
Well, actually, I said that I've kidnapped your girlfriend. You need to be in this movie. And he's like, who is this? Because I was calling from her phone. And he got on a plane that night, and we didn't know for sure if he was going to be able to get, because it was a holiday weekend, President's Day weekend, and he still needed to get clearance from Nickelodeon to be in the thing. So we were just waiting it out that they weren't going to go, no, he's not going to be in Sharknado 3, and they said, sure. So.
Was Hasselhoff seamless?
In terms of what?
Well, like finding a character for him and making it organic.
Yeah, no, because I mean, we kind of always wanted him to be Finn's dad. But again, it was scheduling, so we were like, how can we, you know, there was a couple other ideas we had for him, but it just, we always came back to that. And, you know, he's known for kind of making fun of his image now a lot. You know, it's like the Hoff, and you know, he's in this TV show, and he's got a movie, like, I forget what the title of it, but it's, you know, he's done a lot of that lately. And when he came in, I said, look, I don't want you to play the Hoff. I want you to play Finn's dad. Play him like Clint Eastwood. I want a real character here. I want you to be this kind of crotchety old man that has issues with his son. And he came in and hit it out of the park. I sat there watching what he was doing. I'm like, he's so subtle at times. Like, you realize he's so damn good. I mean, he was just flawless in what he did. And when you see this little kind of thing going back and forth with Ian, he's the only choice to play Finn's dad. So,
is there anything that comes up in the script that it's still the Asylum doing the effects?
The Asylum does the visual effects.
So is there anything that stumps them that they have a hard time pulling off?
So, I mean, sometimes you have to be careful because we want to do these huge things, and it is difficult. And because again, we shot in February, we delivered 2 weeks ago. Over 300 visual effects shots done in 2.5 months. Studio takes 100 days and 2 to 3 years. So they're doing that a mass amount of shots. Sometimes you have to go, all right, can you do this or can you not do this? And they'll tell us. We usually talk about it ahead of time, but there are some complicated effects in here. A lot of times water is difficult, like a lot of flowing water. Like there was in the second movie, Thunder kept writing this thing, like this huge waterfall, they're all sliding down and stuff. And I kept like, there's no way they can do that because we need to get every one of those actors on a green screen. And we don't have time to shoot it. It's like, oh, it'll be easy for them. And it's like, yeah, if we have the time. So we had to figure out something else. But we actually kind of finally got a version of that in 3. So, you know, it's mixing and matching the stuff that they can do in the time frame. They do a phenomenal job. They don't get enough credit for it. I mean, some of the stuff that they do in this movie is top notch. Some stuff is rough around the edges just due to time. It's the nature of these films. But I mean, they're ninjas when it comes to this. And you know, we did a lot of story storyboarding on this movie. I found this great storyboard artist, Timothy Hopkins, and we did a lot of crazy stuff that were full motion things. So that kind of helped. They could see what we were trying to do. I had a few obsessions in this movie, and so I made sure that I could visualize it earlier, so we could make sure we shot the pieces and we could do it. But yeah, there's occasionally there's some stumpers. Occasionally it's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. It's like, okay. But more times than not, it's like, oh my god, I can't. Like the destruction of Washington D.C. is like, it's incredible. Some of the stuff they did was just amazing.